claim being responded on today is increased consumption of foods containing high fructose corn syrup over the last decade is a major contributing factor in the rise in obesity. Secondary claims were that high fructose corn syrup alters normal carbohydrate metabolism. High fructose corn syrup has become ubiquitous in American foods with little acknowledgement of its presence, and increased intake of fructose has led to the significant increase in obesity and other metabolic symptom cases. High fructose corn syrup and sugar both alter the normal carbohydrate metabolism, which was not stated before. High fructose corn syrup and sugar have much in common that most people have not generalized about. Okay, and this is the American Dietetic Association Hot Topics paper on high fructose corn syrup states that once absorbed into the bloodstream, the two sweeteners, sugar and fructose corn syrup, are indistinguishable. Now, high fructose corn syrup is a kind of corn sugar and is handled similarly by the body. Despite the confusing name, high fructose corn syrup is simply corn sugar or added sugar in your daily diet. It's not high in fructose like the name suggests. High fructose corn syrup is composed of the two simple sugars, fructose and glucose, as table sugar, honey, and maple syrup. According to the pediatric endocrinologist Robert Lustig from UCSF Diabetes Center, high fructose corn syrup and cane sugar are virtually identical in terms of structure and nutritional impact. Dr. Lustig warns that both of these sweeteners have equally toxic effect on the liver in large amounts, and excessive consumption of either product raises insulin levels and blood pressure. Sugars and corn syrup consumption also increase your risk of obesity and type 2 diabetes. High fructose corn syrup presence is becoming more acknowledged in Americans' foods. September 14, 2010, in an effort to help clarify the labeling of food products for consumers, the Corn Refiners Association petitioned that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, to allow manufacturers the opinion of using corn sugar as an alternative for high fructose corn syrup. The Corn Refiners Association applied Tuesday to the federal government for permission to use the name on food labels. The group hopes that a new name will ease the confusion for these sweeteners, which is used in most soft drinks, cereal, bread, and other products. It has been made known that high fructose corn syrup is much cheaper than sugar. That is why it is more commonly used. According to the Beverage Watch, cane sugar costs roughly 33 cents per pound, as high fructose corn syrup only costs 20 cents per pound. So the reason that all these companies are using the high fructose corn syrup is that they're trying to get their bigger bang for the buck. You can buy a lot more corn syrup and make a lot more profits. So sugar prices also tend to fluctuate widely, making corn syrup more predictable. The increased intake of fructose, which is high fructose corn syrup form, and sugar both lead to significant increases in obesity and other metabolic symptom cases. American Medical Association Report 3 of the Council of Science and Public Health state that because of the consumption of high fructose corn syrup, sucrose are so similar, particularly on absorption by the body, it appears unlikely that high fructose corn syrup contributes more to obesity or other conditions than sucrose. So it's saying that they're pretty much the same thing. So if you take more calories than are required by your body on a daily basis, this is known as an energy imbalance. Those surplus calories will be converted into fat cells, and if this energy imbalance continues for an extended period of time, it'll lead to overweight and obesity. The bottom line is that your body processes sugar and high fructose corn syrup the same way, and that eating either can lead to obesity and diabetes. That means neither is healthier than the other. That's not saying that you should stop eating foods, or that you should stop and ban all foods from your diet that contain sugar or high fructose corn syrup, but eat less. Try to eat 40 to 45 grams a day, and don't go over that. Read labels and look at the names of sugar, high fructose corn syrup, as well as many other names of sugar. And there are also a couple of underlying issues that often lead to weight gain, such as genetics, environmental factors, psychological issues, physical inactivity due to injury or illness, and eating disorders such as BED, which is a binge eating disorder. So, to wrap it up, the claim I responded to was that increased consumption of foods containing high fructose corn syrup over the last decade is a major contributing factor to the rise of obesity. And my wrap-ups were saying that high fructose corn syrup and sugar are pretty much the same thing, and they both affect your body the same way. High fructose corn syrup is being more acknowledged. As you could say, they're trying to change the name. And the increased intake of fructose and sugar both lead to significant increases in obesity and other metabolic symptoms. Thank you.
All right, I thought the label on the main points was fine, and then you list what the secondary claims are. In the body of the speech, though, the signposting on the individual points was not as clear. In fact, on the movement to the second point, I was listening closely, and so I was able to pick out where you'd moved to that second point, but I think that you need to do a little bit better job transitioning and signposting on those particular points. Your argument basically comes down to the notion that there is no substantial difference between sugar and high fructose corn syrup, and you've got a lot of evidence that suggests that that part is the case. You need to also consider the concept that the advocate is presenting, which suggests that it's the ubiquitous nature of the high fructose corn syrup that has contributed to obesity. And you know, you're back to the same issue. It's primarily, you know, just another kind of sugar. But if it's you know, used more because it's cheaper, or if it's more widely available because it's cheaper, maybe the advocate has a legitimate point on this particular issue. You really don't get involved in the discussion of the advocate's ways of reasoning or the evidence that they present. You're relying primarily on your counterclaims, and I think you've got good evidence on those counterclaims. You get sidetracked a couple of times. The cost issue is at best background information, and at worst it introduces a policy argument, and right at the end you get involved with several policy claims about how people should eat, behave, or act in some way, shape, or other, instead of arguing that you know, high fructose corn syrup has not got any greater impact on the level of obesity than its predecessor, regular fructose or sugar. All right, thank you.